start and continue a dialogue between ourselves and the neighborhood as we're going to go over some of the rules for tonight and our procedures of how we run our meetings. Know that there will be a time at the end of the meeting. We always allow for 2 minutes comment. We'll certainly answer questions. If we don't get to everybody, we will make sure, come see me, come call me in the office, send us emails. We want this to be a beginning of dialogue so that we have a better understanding of what we're doing and what we can do better. Taking us back a little bit, Fishtown Business Improvement District started by statute that was created December 12th, 2019, to be exact, through, though I was not here for it, a lengthy engagement process between the community, the business community, the corridor, and elected officials on what could be better to help the commercial corridor grow. Fishtown Kensington corridor is really part of the envy of the region now. Just this year, Philadelphia Business Journal called our area a boomtown. Philadelphia Inquirer actually called the hottest new neighborhood is under the L. And it shows how far we've come all together in such a brief period of time. And for those that don't know what a business improvement district is, and we're going to get to that in a little bit, it's a statutory creation. There are, okay, and I always disagree. I say there's 19, you say there's 21 in the city of Philadelphia right now, just in Philadelphia alone. And these are created so that commercial property owners band together where they will pay an annual assessment that goes back into the district for things that we're going to talk about to get better enhanced services for the corridor. And there are ways to make sure that you're in charge of your own growth, your own preservation, your own enhancement, and meet the needs of the corridor and hopefully the surrounding neighborhood. So when we came along, ready to go in January, hi Alex, of 2019, all ready to sit in, Kay Anderson, our lovely director of operations, ready to go, and two months later, the pandemic hit. And we immediately shifted to business preservation. It was making sure that our businesses, our corridor survived what we didn't know how long would be a government shutdown. We were very thrilled that during the city of Philadelphia, through the city of Philadelphia, who was handing out grants, 10% of the grants that were awarded in the city of Philadelphia went to the businesses in our commercial corridor to keep them going. It's a pretty significant amount. We were proud to be able to work with them to do that, to try to come up with programs where we were doing dining cards for food businesses. We were, at one point when things opened up, we actually offered our businesses $1,000 return business grants to get them going. And as a result of that, it was difficult. A couple colleagues and I also, we made sure we were part of the advocacy process, where we came up with the terms of the temporary legislation for the streeteries that helped kept all of our thriving taverns, restaurants going during a very difficult time, and actually created a kind of a new culture for our dining experience, not just here, but in the city of Philadelphia. What's important, as we were able to do that, and I think as a result of all the collaborative work, and really it was the work of the business owners, and to be able to survive. What we did at the time was to make sure that we would defer payments. We understood, even though we were going to keep working, we understood that our businesses needed those money more than we did. And we all survived that, and not only that, we came out ahead. Where other corridors, Center City, who's still feeling the after effects, we are still going, and we're still growing, and we've survived it. And I want to thank all the business owners and commercial property owners and the residents for standing by the businesses. So a couple things procedurally tonight. The way we like to run our meetings, we are going to give you a presentation. We please make sure whenever you have a chance to speak, very simple, be civil, be respectful, as you would expect to be done to you. We will make sure that we try to answer any of all questions that we can. We will be forthcoming, and we will try to make sure, hopefully, there's a better understanding. Before we start, I always like to acknowledge our elected officials. City Councilman Jeffrey Young is here. Councilman. Not to put you on the spot, do you want to say a few words?
So good evening, everyone. Hope everyone can see me. My name is Jeffrey Young. I am the newly elected councilman for the 5th Council District, which includes the majority of the space that the bid covers. I'm very familiar with this bid as a staffer. When I worked for Council President Darrell Clark, I actually worked on the legislation for the creation of the bid prior to me leaving. It was introduced in September. I left in August, right? So I'm very familiar with this process and understand some of the great work that the bid has been doing in the district, but I understand there are also some things that that can be improved upon from the work that the bid is doing in the community. So I want to make sure that I'm here to listen to all that is being said, to make sure that any concerns, issues, or praises are going to be acknowledged by my office, so we can take things into consideration as we move forward with the bid process. So just want to let you know I'm here as a board member. I am by law and by bylaws I am on the board of the bid. So I want to make sure that by being on the board, I stay informed of the things that's going on, so I can inform the constituents of the 5th Council District and beyond. So thank you so much for having me here. I look forward to serving you all.
Thank you, Councilman. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming. One thing we want to sort of get out of the way, certainly there's been a lot of noise and a lot of comments going back and forth through social media regarding the conservatorship action that this entity brought regarding the vacant property at 1500 Frankfurt Avenue. I believe some of the family members are here. Just to briefly update everybody, as many of you know who are on the video of that hearing, we had a verbal agreement at the time to resolve the case. That has since been confirmed in a writing and a settlement stipulation, as well as a separate agreement of sale. The property is going to be sold for $950,000. The bid has waived any right to a conservatorship fee, and the buyer is also going to be paying our attorney's fees. So we are happy to be able to say that, and certainly it's a difficult and a lot of highly emotional case, but we wanted to at least know that the court has it now. We're waiting to see how the court's going to close that out. But the goal is to simply ensure that a property is brought back into productive use. That's a simple end of it. Having said that, thank you. I want to bring up the lovely and talented Kay Anderson. Kay was part of the process of forming the bid. I think it's important for those that don't know, that know exactly what a bid is, who we represent, how we assess, so it gives a better example of what our service area is, okay?
Thanks, Mark. Before I get started on what a bid is, I did want to just procedurally let everybody know that I am recording this meeting. So if you do not wish to be on camera, please stay to that side of the room. There is a microphone over there that will be used for public comments. So once we get to that period, I'm going to ask you to go up to the mic just so we can record everything so we have it for future use. So for those of you who don't know, the Fishtown Kensington Area Business Improvement District, as Mark said earlier, was formed in January 2020 through City Council ordinance. A business improvement district in general is a formal authorization from City Council to create an organization that assesses all of the properties within a geographical boundary. Now, what is an assessment? An assessment is an additional charge, so it's not a tax, it does not go to the City of Philadelphia, but it goes directly to our organization to fund the work that we do and gets spent all within the community. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit.
Excuse me 1 second, I can't turn down the mic. One more of the rules that we have is we are videotaping this, we will put this out. We ask all of you to not record the call in one way or the other, whether it's by cell phone, video, or otherwise. All right, thank you.
Yep. So what is an assessment? So the assessment is an additional bill that goes out to all of the properties within our geographical boundaries. That bill then goes to pay for the services that you see that we provide through our organization. So where do we get our information from? The Office of Property Assessments puts together all of our property data that then gets sent to us. Once that property data is sent to us, it's my job as the Director of Operations to figure out what the assessment formula will be for this year. Now, how do I figure out the assessment formula? It's a very convoluted process. Basically, you have to add up all of the city-given property values, so this is not dependent on the tax abatement, all of the city-given property values, and then once you get the total value for the district, you divide that by the cap of our budget. Our budget is capped each and every year at a specific amount, which is written out in our ordinance. You can find that online on our website. Also happy to send it out to you, so feel free to email us for that. But once we divide by the capped amount, that gives us something around our assessment figure. Now the caveats here, if it was that simple, I wouldn't really need to spend very much time doing it, but we do have a minimum property value. So for properties that are not valued by the city at a high rate, but still have a structure on them, the minimum for our assessment is $365 per year. So that's $1 a day to pay for things like street cleaning, parking improvements, economic development, things of that nature. We also have a maximum assessment. So if you have one of the largest properties in our district, there is a cap. So our cap is 2.5% of the total budget. So any property will not pay more than 2.5% of the total budget of our organization. When it comes to owner-occupied residential, there is an owner-occupied residential exemption. The process is pretty simple. Because the city does not keep adequate track of owner-occupied versus un-owner-occupied properties, it's up to us as an organization to kind of do that digging and figure out what is owner-occupied and what isn't. What we do is we send bills to any property we believe might not be owner-occupied. So if there's a rental license associated with it, if we have never touched base with you before and you're a new owner, or if the property is owned by some sort of LLC or anything like that, chances are you're going to receive a bill from us. If you are in that situation and you occupy the property, all you have to do is shoot us an email, and then we walk you through the exemption process, which is pretty straightforward. All we need is a copy of a utility bill that shows that you reside in the property, and then we exempt your property or your portion that you reside in from the assessment bill. So that's kind of how that works. It's all done via email. It's very straightforward and super, super simple. Collections and liens. So the other thing that our city council ordinance allows us to do is if somebody is not paying their assessment bills and we are not hearing from them and not having contact with them, we do have the ability to lien the property for the amount of the assessment bills. So that's something that we did not start doing until 2022. Because of the pandemic, obviously, we did not feel comfortable liening anybody in 2020 or in 2021, just to give our businesses a chance to really come back from, the hardships that they had faced during that time. In addition to the liening process, we also have the ability to charge 1.5% interest per month for every month that the bill is late. Our assessment bills are sent out in January, so they arrive on January 1st. They're net 30, so technically they will have already been due. But that being said, we don't start charging interest until March. So you still have time to reach out to us and work with us, and we are also happy to set up a payment plan to move your charges out over the entire year so that it's not as big of a burden all at once. All right, and that takes us to budget categories. So our bid was set up with a very specific mission, and in that mission, we kind of divided it up into a couple of different budget categories. So there is cleaning, greening, and maintenance, capital improvements and parking, economic development and public safety, marketing and promotions, and personnel and administration. Obviously, personnel and administration is pretty straightforward. You have Mark and myself, Randy and Brendan, who are our marketing and office management team, are also employees of the bid. The cleaning, greening, and maintenance is the street cleaning that you see. We do have, I'm not going to get into all the street cleaning because it happens later, but these are the buckets that we kind of go into and where we spend our money. If you have any questions about actual figures that are being spent in each of those categories, I'm happy to give you those. But ballpark, cleaning and maintenance, we spend about $215,000 a year. Capital improvements, this past year we spent about $120,000. Economic development and public safety, we spent $130,000, and marketing and promotions, we spent about $24,000. And that brings me over to Mark.
Well done, Kay. Well done. Give her the applause. Also want to be aware, in case those that don't know, the bid has a specific service area that we are statutorily required to service. In a nutshell, that goes from Frankfurt Avenue, from the Fillmore, going all the way down to Lehigh. We have the map up there now, but harder to see. We also have, love the sound of that, Girard Avenue from I-95 all the way to Front Street, and then we go on Front Street from
Poplar to Montgomery.
So one of the things as we get into capital improvements, it's very important as we not just deal with what we deal with day to day to make sure that we're helping to bring new businesses here, help our commercial tenants flourish, but is plan for the future, for the commercial health and success for decades to come. So it was probably back in 2021, I guess, maybe 2022, we engaged ISA architects. What? 2020, even better. And we wanted to come up with a vision plan of how to activate our corridor and enhance our corridor to help bring different areas to life that maybe even weren't being hit at the time. And this was the first phase of our vision plan. Over the next several years, we had several Zoom meetings with our stakeholders, with ISA, elected officials, municipal and state departments, to try to figure out what would work to, most importantly, ensure connectivity and accessibility to and from our corridor. That was the key. We have thousands of people coming through here every day, live, shop, work, play, eat, you name it. And through ISA's expertise, they originally picked out 3 intersections that we would address to ultimately enhance. Proud to say the 2 of those we've actually already received funding for, and we're awaiting word on funding for the 3rd. So we're going to go through some of the things that we've been able to do from our master plan. So a front and Cecil B. Moore, as I talked to you earlier about the Inquirer talking about the area under Front Street, under the L, as the newest, hottest neighborhood. Well, there's nothing more active now than around 1700 Frankfurt Avenue. Thank you, Roland. Where all of these great mixed-use buildings are coming up by the International, next to Evil Genius, and there's going to be an increase in residential density and business density that supports all the businesses that are there. And what we wanted to do is try to create an open space for people to use, to sit, to relax, to enjoy the neighborhood. And we actually, right outside of the International Bar, owner Paul Kimport's right over there. Thank you, Paul. We work with ISA to try to get a cool kind of vibe space that would survive the elements, that would all be able to be there, but also be able to be moved, you know, because depending on traffic and so forth. We were fortunate enough to receive a what we call a local share account grant from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which is from casino monies of over $80,000, where we created this cute little pedestrian plaza with a handicap accessibility. We used literally the protective barriers that you often see for construction, fill them up with water so they're obviously stable, put some cool designs around it to kind of, as you can see, is the shape of the actual intersection. We brought in an artist to paint some cool designs, and we worked with a company called Tiny WPA to create what we call better barriers. So they were bright, they're pretty, they're sturdy, that you can kind of sit and enjoy a summer day, maybe get a sandwich from the International or one of our new businesses that are going to be coming there. There's also greenery, thanks to Close at Hand. Josh, thank you for the great work and your company putting it in there. And coming this spring, as we're waiting for some of the construction to get done so it doesn't get hit as much, we're going to be having some new improvements in there, including some cool aesthetic lighting that goes in and around the plaza. And it's just a way to pick an area that's kind of like goes off into Kensington, maybe didn't get attention before, but it's getting it now. And with the hundreds and thousands of units that are coming in, and we're always hearing about we don't have enough open space, we thought it was a great way to do that while also not changing any traffic lanes. So we were able to debut that. We had Rich Montanez from Streets out to do the ribbon cutting with us. It was a beautiful day, and we look forward to enhancing that as the weather gets warmer. Next one, Front and Girard. Now, Front and Girard, we all know, is one of the busiest locations in our commercial corridor between the L stop and just people hanging around, walking around. What we wanted to be able to do through ISA, through neighborhood input from all the meetings that we had, because what we always did was we narrowed it down once we had a big meeting to the people that were affected right around the area where we were and had streets on. And most importantly, we have a partner in SEPTA that is allowing us to do all of this work by the L stop. And one of the things that we'll be doing besides putting in this beautiful aesthetic lighting and creating cool designs in the streets, we're actually taking those openings that you find under the L stop, and we're going to be filling them with what will look like little offices, little, I don't want to call them kiosks, but storefronts. Come this spring, by April, you're seeing a design. This will be the first one that you'll see on the east side. It's the biggest side, right by where the Dollar Tree used to be. It is heated, got all the amenities in it, because our Fishtown ambassadors that we will be talking about shortly, that's going to be where they're stationed at. So they will always have people there to greet people. If people need directions, know where to go. If they need help, there'll always be people there. There'll be people walking around as they normally do to ensuring public safety for each and all. And we'll talk a little bit about what they do. So, but we couldn't have done this, A, without another generous grant from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, a Keystone Communities grant for $72,500 to get this first phase done. We just filed another grant to finish all the intersections, because it's a point we're going to have another kiosk on the other side of the street that we want to rent to people that maybe don't have the ability to afford a regular storefront here in the Fishtown area, that they can start their business in the heart of our community. And I think it's a great way to add life to that area, keep people moving in that area. Hi, Cassie. You know, have a lot of bright signage pointing you to different things that are along the way. And you'll see in the coming months, SEPTA is also going to be doing more improvements to that. They're going to be painting the area. They're going to be putting some more security functions at the bottom of the steps to try to make it not just pretty, but safer for all involved. In fact, we have a call with SEPTA next week. And like I said, we're shooting for, depending how quick our permits come in. For an April grand opening, but it's a pretty cool idea, and we're looking forward to it. We really think this could be transformational for what is a very busy, hectic intersection. So we're looking forward to that. Next slide. Lastly is Frankfurt and Lehigh, one of our gateways to the corridor, and one area that we've seen really in the past year and a half, from the 2400 block on where the roundabout is. You've seen an explosion of new development, new residential density, new businesses coming in. I see our friends from Archive Development who have done a lot of work down there. Henry and Ryan are here. Great job, gentlemen. And there's also going to be, finally, right at the corner of Frankfurt and Lehigh, on the side where the gas station is, there's going to be finally, I think they already broke ground and starting doing work for a massive mixed-use complex. Well, what we wanted to do was create a very bright gateway to the neighborhood where we have A lot of lighting, a lot of signage at the triangle. Even we thought we were painting in the ground emblems that represent the intersection of Frankfurt and Lehigh. And we even have one of those cool blow-up things that kind of swivel and dance in the wind. We just thought it would be neat with different signs. We filed for a grant for that from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We hope to hear that in the next several months so that we can kind of get started with that. But we're very proud that in picking 3 intersections, we funded 2, finished 1, about to finish the other one, and we hope to get to this. Now, this is not exclusive. We're not stopping here. This was just a start to get us going. We're going to be re-engaging ISA architects this year to do phase 2. And that will be picking through help of all of you. We'll certainly make sure to invite the public of other areas in our district, in our commercial corridor, that could use a certain type of activation to help stimulate more growth. And we're looking forward to that. We want, as you're going to see, we want to make sure we hit parts of Girard Avenue now that need attention. And it's difficult there because of the way the road is and with the trolley coming along. But we also want to hit other parts of Front Street, other parts of Frankfurt. As much as we think we're saturated, we're not. And there's other areas that people are now going that we never thought that they would go, going all the way down to Frankfurt and Lehigh. So stay tuned for that. If you want to see our vision plan, it is on our website, fishtowndistrict.com. I hope you'll all visit that. Also, Kay didn't mention too with our finances. I know that's been a question. We have to, by law, as a nonprofit, not just because of our statute, we are independently audited every year and file a 990 with the IRS. All our audit reports, all of them successful, and our 990s are also on fishtowndistrict.com. So if there's any questions, we urge you to take a look. Next, Kay. So this is one of the biggies. Many of you probably remember this even before the bid started. The Frankfurt Avenue Connector Project with the Delaware River Waterfront Corporation. I think that started in 2017 before there was a bid. This was an active plan with port urbanism on how we could take our neighborhoods, Fishtown Kensington neighborhoods, and connect them to the joys of the riverfront. And there was a lot of civic engagement done at the time of different designs, some of which you're going to see shortly, of ways to do that, to beautify, to have functionality, but also activate certain parts of the corridor that needed a little attention, needed a little brightness, a little beauty, a little more consumer traffic. So when I arrived here, and started to immediately engage with DRWC, it was clear they had, a lot of projects in the air and a lot of funding options. So I asked, knowing that permits were going to expire for this work, could the bid take this and try to get the money? And very pleased to announce that we, through the generous help of Congressman Brendan Boyle, I always joke that I ran against Brendan Boyle for state rep in 2010, and he only beat me by this much. That started his career, but he, through his advocacy, we received a community funding award of $750,000. As you can see here, that's when we're getting the big check. Delaware River Waterfront Corporation got $1 million to do certain activations further north, including Graffiti Pier. Next slide. So one of the challenges that we immediately faced was this funding is available to us for 6 to 7 years. We have to spend this. Unfortunately, as some of you I'm sure know, with the I-95 work coming in the area right by Frankfurt and Girard, that's going to be starting shortly. And how long is that work going to take? 6 to 7 years. So we had to try to find something that we could do now with the money that we received, while knowing a big part of what we're doing, which you'll see, is coming. And one of the things that was in the plan, for those that hadn't seen it, are these Fishtown letter seats, about 6, 7 feet high, and they're made to kind of sit out there. They're a good item to kind of create a plaza or an area to congregate. You can see through them. People could come take pictures. It becomes a destination spot. You can sit. They're also made in a way that you can't lie on them, so we want to keep people moving. So we have a plan in place that we're going through with Streets Department and PennDOT. We thought it was important that we were able to pin down a location and approval through them, and out of respect to the community and especially the neighborhoods and intersections that we're thinking of, we wanted to make sure we had approval, then we're going to go to them. But this would be the first stage wherever we would put it. And it's just a simple little item that people can come, sit, enjoy, take pictures, and it becomes another destination spot, to be honest, in a corridor full of destination spots. Next slide. Now this is the heart of what we wanted to do. Right under the I-95 overpass by Frankfurt and Richmond. These big, beautiful, light-up welcome to Fishtown signs that are going to go fill up the whole area. And we were very lucky, at least, though, even though PennDOT said very clearly to me to stay away from that area for the next 7 years, they did say when we are ready to go, that they will actually install those for us and do the electrical hookup. So when the time comes, we actually get to save a little money. But for an area that, you know, which is right here, and this has now become such an entertainment complex with our friends at the Fillmore, with the Foundry, with Punchline, with Other Half, with Brooklyn Bowl, with all the places that are, with the casino. Jonathan will kill me if I don't mention it. This now puts this beautiful area for people to kind of walk through, and the illumination provides safety, and it's also just a pretty little item. Now, if you could flip the next slide, it actually would be enhancements on both sides of the street. So we're hoping this project total is a little over $3 million. After we got to 750, I just filed what we call a RCAP or RAPKey, depending on who you ask. It's a state development grant for big construction projects like this. We are partnering with PIDC, who believed in the project, so hopefully we will be able to get the remainder of the funding for that so that we can at least get started as I-95 is finishing and have everything fabricated and ready to go. One of the things we will make sure to do, besides hit everybody when we're ready to talk about where to put the letter seats, we will then re-engage the community. I think probably the last engagement that DRWC did was a few years ago. And they did extensive ones. Kind of bring everybody back, bring everybody to the site, and let them get a feel of what it's going to look like. But I think it really can bring that to life. And again, we're trying to get traffic to and from the attractions on the river. Next slide, if you can. Already, part of the project is already there, actually, by the casino. These Wayfair River Trail markers that kind of point to different areas, whether you're going to the trail, whether you're going to Graffiti Park, if you're going to Frankfurt Avenue, one of our great corridor places. Those came up probably in the spring. If you were ever around the casino or the trail, I hope you've seen them there. But that was just a small part of the project, but we were glad they were able to get those in. And we want to have more, what we plan to do with our vision plan is have more markers like that so people know on the corridor, honestly, where everything is. We don't want people, as they're coming off the L, the tendency used to always be they turn to go to Frankfurt Avenue. Well, now we want them to turn and go to Front Street, go to Girard, you know, take them to all the great places that we have to enjoy. Next slide. And as you can see, the aim of the River Trail marker is to provide a tactical and unobtrusive set of wayfinding elements that improve awareness and visibility of the Delaware River Trail for pedestrians, bicyclists, and river casino patrons. Where's Jonathan Todd? Are you happy now? Oh. And one of the things that we've been working on in my prior life, I was worked for 8 years in the House of Representatives, and I was on the Transportation Committee for a time. We've been working with streets and PennDOT to try to do other connectors from our neighborhoods to the river. There is a plan, again, 7 years out, where they want to put pedestrian crossings at places like Columbia, like Palmer, things like that, so people can not just have to cross at Frankfurt, but still be able to enjoy the river, and vice versa. And now you have the Battery there, you have the River Suites Hotel, so there's a lot of activities. Next slide. Safety enhancement. One of the things that's important for us to do is to be advocates for the neighborhood and for the corridor. One of the biggest problems that we were getting, especially on Girard Avenue, was the difficulties in the traffic problems on Girard Avenue, especially by Berks and Columbia. I was able to get Rich Montanez and Steve Lorenz out back, I guess it was World Series time, the last time I had them out there, when we were in the World Series. And through at least, besides studies that they're doing now, they installed new lane divider signs, markings, warnings of traffic merger, and actually repainted the turning lanes on East Girard Avenue from Berks to Columbia. It certainly helped. Can't say it solved, but it certainly helped some of the big traffic problems there. Anybody who lives there, works there, knows that it's very difficult when people are coming off 995 and they're turning from all areas. So this is a start. We're going to continue to work with them to bring things like this all the way up Girard Avenue. I always get the directions confused, to make those improvements. Next, Kay. Frankfurt Avenue. One of the things, and this is for my good friend Kathleen here, who since I got here was yelling at me, when are the roads going to be repaved? And after begging and contacting Elaine Elbeck from PennDOT, when they finally were doing it, was able to get us to the front of the list to finally repave Frankfurt Avenue and repaint lines. Most of it is held, but it certainly has made a big difference for travel. It certainly has made a big difference for the property owners who have a little more smoother streets to go. And one of the things that we want to do now that these lines are actually drawn and paved, and intersections that don't, F&A has already started doing things of painting the crosswalks. We want to do more creative things like that in the coming year to be able to, be able to add a little. One of the things about this corridor that's so special in the neighborhood is its artistic quality. And this is a great way to bring that out while people are walking, and I think it's a great thing to see. Next one, Kay. Corridor cleaning. That's always the biggest obstacle we face, and the biggest thing we need to be responsible for is to have a clean and beautiful corridor. We are very fortunate that we are the only business improvement district, sorry Cassidy, that gets money from the city of Philadelphia, what we call TCB, Taking Care of Business Corridor Cleaning Award. We actually are the only one to get one. We brought in Ready, Willing, and Able. I don't know if anybody knows them, but you've probably seen the guys in the blue jumpsuits walking around. One of the reasons we like them is not just the quality of the work they do and the attention they give, but their mission. And as if many that don't know, they employ Philadelphians facing serious social and economic barriers. 100% are homeless. Nearly 70% of RWA trainees have incarceration histories of 5 years or more. 96% have a history of drug or alcohol abuse, and 36% do not have a high school diploma or a GED. What's important about that is we're helping, while also getting our corridor cleaned and beautiful, we're helping these folks get ahead and helping getting their lives ahead. And I had the privilege of working with them on my last job, and their mission moved me. The people that did it, if you see them out on the street, say hi, say thank you. They're great guys. And we're certainly thrilled to have them. Recently, though, we always know that we have a busy corridor. So our men in blue are out 5 days a week cleaning different parts of the corridor. And they're out every morning. And by noon, I'm getting the calls about there's trash here, and it's the nature of the business. So through our friend Scott, who runs our Fishtown Ambassador program, we created Fishtown Community Corps, which we're getting some people who need to go to work and want to work, and we have them go out from 1 in the afternoon every day, going out to high volume areas on Frankfurt Front and Girard to clean, to pick up dumping that's reported to me, to also they spot graffiti. They turn it into me so that I can turn it in for removal. Anything that they see that is a quality of life issue, they report and they address. So you probably see our good friend Lamont there running his team. Thank you, Lamont, for all you do. We're going to clap for him again because he does another job for us too. And it really has made a difference. And we understand, especially when you go to places like Front and Girard, how quickly the trash accumulates. And it's so great to see them out and some of the things they have to pick up. So if at any point any of you see things that need to be picked up, if they're dumped, even if they're not in the bid, reach out to me. Reach out to us here at the bid. We'll help get it collected and get it moved. Someone reported behind on Oxford Street, which is not in our service area, someone just dumped a shopping cart full of tiles. Scott's team went and addressed it today. So that's the important thing, is we want to make sure that we can be of use. Lamont, thank you again, buddy. Next slide. Part of the corridor cleaning is the city brings in e-consult solutions to do trash reviews, litter indexes, audits of the corridors. We just received our second. Now, the litter index is a tool used by the city to track the impact of the TCB program I told you about throughout Philadelphia and inform other litter reduction strategies. Every TCB block was visited 3 times between April 15th and May 12th of 2023, and 3 times this fall between September 5th and October 15th, 2023, with a scale of up to 1 to 4, meaning 1 meaning little to none, 4 meaning you have a problem. The results that we got of over the 30 blocks that just we get TCB money for. The average Fishtown Kensington bid area block score is 1.2.0. That means little to no litter. The average citywide TCB block score is 1.64. This is a 0.25 increase in cleanliness from the spring report that we had of 1.5. 97% of the Fishtown Kensington area bid blocks have a manageable level of litter with an average score between 1 and 2. 66% of statewide TCB blocks have a manageable level of litter. So we're above the curve. Lastly, 0% of Fishtown Kensington area bid blocks have an undesirable level of litter with an average score of between 3 or 4. That's the bad stuff. 5% of the city TCB blocks have that level. Now, that is in no means that we are saying to you that everything is perfect, but it is saying to you that what we are doing is helping and making a difference. So when we get a score like that from the city of Philadelphia, who determines whether we continue to get this funding or we don't, and they're saying that we have little to no litter, that gives us the enthusiasm, the pride we need to find other ways, like we did with the Fishtown Community Corps. How can we enhance that? So we're very proud of that. Next one. Fishtown Ambassadors, you're up again, Lamont. One of the things I've wanted to do since I got here, and it certainly emulates what Center City District have, is to have Fishtown Ambassadors, people that walk around our commercial corridor, checking in on businesses, helping people that need it, making sure people are safe, and most importantly, reporting issues to the necessary authorities that need to, while also de-escalating situations that need to be brought down. And this is just a way that we can, listen, our police force is stressed as it is, and there are many situations that a 911 call isn't warranted. And that's why I happened to meet Scott Nistico. Scott, say hello. Stand up, Scott. So we met Scott several years ago. I met Scott. We did a Back to the Future event over in Evil Genius where we had the original DeLorean and all the original movie items, and Scott's team was there to do safety, security. And I was impressed with how you knew they were there, but you didn't know they were there. And I sat and started talking to Scott about the idea I had, and we were able to put this together. Because the key is, these men are armed with only this, their cell phone, and Narcan. That's it. And we work very closely. We meet at least quarterly with the Office of Homeless Services, with the 26th District, who you're going to hear from shortly, with Prevention Point, with all of the services that may be needed for people that are in need. And we immediately, as soon as we started them, we first started them at night, on the weekends for the late night hours. We used to affectionately call them our Hush Squad. They would be out in the heart of where the bars were to make sure that people were going to and from the bars, quietly, peacefully, not stopping in neighborhoods to do certain things. And it seemed, while also walking employees of our businesses to and from their cars at night. By checking in on our bars to make sure that they were all brought together under one system, that if they could report something, if there was a problem, if someone was evicted from the bar for bad behavior, the other bars knew it. And it worked so well that we wanted to start to do some things during the day. And I guess we knew we were onto something, though you wish it wasn't. First day, they started during the day. Scott's team stopped the home invasion, where they heard a woman screaming for help. They ran over. There was someone trying to forcibly push their way into a woman's house. Two of them stopped, stayed with the woman to make sure she was okay, called 911, got the police there, got emergency personnel there. The other two followed the gentleman till he conked out at what is now Walkworks. And what I found so impressive by it was they didn't touch him. They made a little perimeter around him so that he was safe and the people around him were safe till law enforcement came. But what was gratifying about it, when we all came together later, were the hugs that this woman couldn't stop giving, just saying, didn't know what we would do if you weren't here. Shame you need it, but it's nice to know that we have that team on the ground. I saw it again in action right outside my office. An unhoused individual was clearly going through something, had actually assaulted one of Lamont's guys. See, clap for Lamont again, by the way. He runs our ambassadors as well. And they just went up and hit him. And police were called. They said, do you want to press charges? I was like, no. And the gentleman, they sent me a picture, actually just stopped right in front of my office and sat there. And I texted Scott and the guys. I said, is this the gentleman that you're just... And they came down. And what was the most amazing thing was 3 of them sat down, never got in his space, and just started talking to him, said, it looks like you need someone to talk to. And we're going to sit here and talk to you for as long as you need. The man just all of a sudden opened up that he was, struggling with substance abuse, had been kicked out of his house. And Sloan, one of our guys, picked up his phone and said, if you're ready for help right now, I'm going to take you. But you can't keep doing what you're doing here. Now, unfortunately, what I loved was just how they de-escalated this gentleman. Unfortunately, he didn't take us up on help, but we've had ones that did. There was a woman by the Septistop who was swinging a stick at people in cars, and Scott came over, and she was inconsolable. But he noticed that she had a Marine tattoo, and Scott was in the service at one point. And then all of a sudden, he just went and said, get it together, Marine, and she immediately just stopped to it. And she did take help. So that's what these guys are doing. We know they're not a security team, they're a safety team. And we look forward to increasing that. Thank you and you for all the great work that you do. I know public safety is so important, and feelings of physical and emotional safety are important. And it's nice to know that you gentlemen are walking around doing that. We're looking forward to, in the coming year, increasing our presence and our patrols so that we can, make sure we cover all space at all times. But it's nice to see that they're always there. Next slide. Hold that. We're almost getting to the end. It's our show, Denise. And just a little bit with grants and awards. We actually wanted to add up between grants that we received and tax credits. Actually, through the folks at this fine corporation of Live Nation, there's a program called the CDC Tax Credit Program, where if you pay over $100,000 in business income receipt taxes, you can divert that, if chosen, to a local CDC or a bid. We were very fortunate to be chosen, to be partnered with Live Nation. This is the 3rd year that we're getting an extra $100,000 that goes right back into the district. So between those monies and grant monies we received, were awarded since we started, the total now is $1,496,743.50. I got there. So it's a nice amount of money that, remember, these are all project driven. All of these things are to go back into the district, so we're very proud of that. Go ahead, guys. As I said, we get TCB money. That's $81,000 a year. That allows us to increase our trash collection services that we provide. The $750,000 we got for the Frankfurt Avenue connector. We're looking forward to more. We also, this year, we got $5,990, thank you to our city officials, for a Philadelphia Activities Grant to add more trash cans. So this year, you can see all the locations up there that we put them at: Frankfurt and Master, 604 East Girard, Girard and Berks, Amber and Sargent, Frankfurt and Sargent, our plaza in front in Cecil B. Moore, 2400 Frankfurt Avenue, Front Street Cafe, 401-05 East Girard, 701 East Girard Avenue, 1101 Frankfurt Avenue, Frankfurt and Wildey, Palmer Park at the bus stop, and 1300 Frankfurt Avenue. Those were the trash cans that we just added this year. Total, since the bid started, we've added a total of 34 trash cans throughout our district that are a team at Ready, Willing, and Able service. So we always look forward to doing that. The one thing you may not see, unfortunately, as much of are the fish heads, which we love. Love the program, started before we got here. What we were finding were people loved them so much that they were taking them home. I think we had 5 stolen. The best was, I mentioned our friends at ISA Architects. They were out in South Philly having a cocktail at a local bar, and they sent me a picture. Does this look familiar? In somebody's backyard, there was one of our fish heads. So for now, we're just bringing the regular trash cans because function sometimes beats some of the fashion, but we look forward to more. Go ahead, Kev. Through Penn Treaty Special Services District, we actually received $17,000 this past year to get 40 bike racks, 20 of which are installed actually in this complex with our help of Will Frazier from the Clean Air Council. I'm going to bring Will up in a minute. One of the reasons is we are trying to decrease motor vehicle traffic as much as we can, and this is an area that certainly can use it. It was a great place to start. So we put 20 down here. That means we have another 20. If any of you have a location within the district that you may have an interest, whether it's in front of your property or another, come see me. We only have one committed so far on 240-something East Girard, Raha's place. So we also were able to install, with that money, 5 city bin containers. We put them in places like Front Girard, Frankfurt and Palmer, 2211-17 Frankfurt Avenue, which is the Mural City Garden. Where are you, Francesca? Love her. Where the trolley car is, and also 40105 East Girard. This Ready, Willing, and Able has access to it, so they're able to put excess dumping and trash bags in, and they can store in there until they're able to come collect them. But couldn't do it without Penn Treaty Special Services District. We thank them. I think the next one is for Will. Will, do you want to come up and give a little bit about how people can get bike racks?
Thanks, Mark. I can keep this really brief. Good evening, everyone. My name's Will Fraser. I work for Clean Air Council. It's a local environmental nonprofit here in Philadelphia. And just talking really quickly about bike racks. Next slide, please. And why they're good for business. You can see here, Philly boasts one of the nation's highest percentages of bicycle commuters. In fact, 70% of cyclists say they would bike more often if secure bike parking was available. A couple benefits to bike racks in front of your business include increased pedal or foot traffic, strengthens businesses' relationships with their local community, promotes healthy, active living, and as Mark mentioned, helps sustainable travel, get out of those single occupancy vehicles. Next slide, please. So real quick, going through the bike rack approval process here. It's very straightforward, but a bit onerous. So the first step is filling out a bike rack permit application. You can find this online if you Google Philly bike rack permit application. After that, Clean Air Council will conduct a bike rack audit of your storefront space to see if it meets the city's requirements. After that, an architect will draw up a 2-scale rendering of the bike rack location in the space. After your approval, that will go to the Streets Right-of-Way Department to have the permit approved, and then we'll turn it over back to Mark for the Fishtown bid to approve, to install the bike rack. So pretty straightforward. If folks want to take a photo of my email, that's perfect. I'll also be by the bar after the meeting for anyone interested, and happy to grab folks' information who are interested in adopting a bike rack for their storefront. Cool. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Will. Appreciate you. It's a great thing. We encourage as much as we can. Like I said, we have 20. It doesn't cost you anything. We'll put them in. Just we want to find a good spot. Good homes for them. Next slide. Security cameras. One of the things about is public safety. We utilize the Philadelphia's business security camera program, where now you actually get 75% reimbursement to put these cameras, surveillance cameras, up at high volume, high density intersections. The goal is to have a couple things that we actually give, besides our property owners who we install them, but law enforcement access. So what we're able to do is have quick responses to calls, to crimes, to any investigation, and it really has made a difference. Currently, we have them up at Frankfurt and Richmond and Allen Street, Frankfurt and Oxford, Front and Thompson, Front and Girard, Frankfurt and Girard, Frankfurt and Shacamaxon/Thompson, and we just had our applications approved yesterday to install on East Girard at Day Street, Marlborough, Columbia, Montgomery, and Berks, as well as for Front and Cecil B. Moore. Just for you, Paul. He's not listening to me. Just for you, Paul. We're putting him. And we were very thrilled with the progress we have. If we can, I want to bring up Officer George Citron from the 26th and maybe talk a little bit about the success of the program. He is so excited to talk to the public. You can tell he's rushing here as fast as he's ever moved. Thank you, George.
Hey, Mark. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm not usually in the spotlight. Mark introduced the cameras to the police district. They are on a desktop version or on my phone. Everybody lives on their phone. It's a little bit easier. These cameras are high quality, license plate readers, night vision, and they're placed in strategic areas, Front and Girard, where we have the SEPTA station, the homeless problem. We review these as crimes are occurring or the day after. I'm the analyst for the district. I review all the crime that happens the night before, the day of, while it's going on. I match up the reports to the video if it's something in the area. I've received a lot of Ring camera videos for other things. These cameras work a little bit differently. They're more high quality. For example, the camera at Frankfurt and Lehigh caught a shooting in real time. The cameras at Front and Girard have, we've observed a little bit of narcotics transactions, quality of life things. With the cameras, we can combat that in real time or previously. We'll get a feel for who's in the area. The cameras along Frankfurt Ave have, for example, there was a robbery at the Cleaners on Girard and Shacamaxon. We've used those cameras to backtrack where the offender came from and where he went. Those things, those things in real time, we put them out to our patrol officers. We communicate with each other. They work really well. And the high quality cameras and the license plate readers, a lot of the regular Ring cameras, we'll get a car, we won't get a license plate, and unfortunately, there's a lot of Toyotas, Nissans, and Kias. If we have a license plate, we're able to track that person down. with other technology that we have in the police department, and it helps us solve a lot more crime.
Thank you, George. Appreciate you. And thanks for all that you do, not just for us, but for everybody. I mean that. So stay tuned. And so if any of you need access, if something happens in these areas and need access, please contact me at the bid. And we will certainly make sure that video is provided. The key is we want to make sure if it's a criminal matter, that it follows a chain of evidence that can be admitted, which means we want to make sure the police detectives have it and it goes through them. But it's really been an invaluable tool, and it certainly has helped our businesses and the people who are in the intersection to know that they're there. Go ahead, Kay, or Randy. Parking. Over the past several years, the bid, along with the Board of F&A, have been working to try to find, as we know, there were no parking regulations in the Fishtown District in our commercial corridor whatsoever. That means if you had a car and it was legal, you could literally park your car on Frankfurt Avenue in front of Frankfurt Hall or any numerous places and come back 2 years later and your car will be there. Well, in a high volume area like this, turnover is very important. And through a lot of meetings, we were able to, with the help of, ultimately with Council President Clark, get pushed parking regulations for Frankfurt Avenue from Allen to Jefferson, from Girard Avenue from Marlborough to Front, the PPA lot at 1300 Frankfurt Avenue, and also the 1200 block of North Front Street to 1350, where we had 3-hour parking, no meters, from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. If you had a residential parking permit, that would override the need to have to pay or anything like that. And what it's done is did exactly what we hoped it would do. This was based on 2 parking studies that the PPA had done, one in 2016 and then again in 2021, which we had one of the lowest parking turnover rates for any major commercial corridor in the city of Philadelphia. Now, if you go to certain areas, whether you go to La Colombe or other areas, you actually can get a parking spot now, and that's something that we need to do. Again, it doesn't solve all the problems, but it certainly has made a significant difference in the ability for people to come here, because really the goal was, if people are coming to, we have a busy corridor, people coming to shop, to dine, to eat, to drink, and if they're not getting a spot on our corridor, unfortunately, they're going to park in our neighborhoods and blocking somebody's spot, or they're going home, which hurts business. These types of regulations, which are fair, allows for that turnover, so those things don't occur. So, if there are areas that need to be investigated, you feel that, again, please contact the bid. We're certainly happy to get a study done to look into that. Next. Now I get to hand over the mic. One of the things we want to make sure we do is promote this corridor by campaigns, by events, and even by some unique things. As you're going to hear, one of the things that I wanted to do since I got here was create an app where you could be standing right at Frankfurt and Shackamax, and it could tell you everything that's going on throughout the corridor. And then this young man right over there, you're going to meet Max Thalheimer. Well, little Max walked into my door one day, never met him, and had the same idea for an app called Find, which we're very proud to work with him now and use. And I'm going to bring up Randy Sherwood. Brendan, are you just going to sit this one out, buddy? And Max Thalheimer. Randy?
Thank you. So I get to do all the fun stuff while Mark and Kay get to worry about safety and security and trash. I get to worry about marketing the businesses. One of the things that we started this year, and it's something that we've wanted to do, at one time, Mark and Kay did a radio show. They interviewed different businesses on the radio. When we changed this year, we decided Fishtown Features. In Fishtown Features, Mark and Kay go out and Mark interviews different businesses along the corridor, and we promote these businesses. They get to talk about how they got started, how they chose Fishtown, what their business strategy is, what their expectations are. And we post this information on our social media pages. We have it on YouTube. We do, promotion for each of these businesses. And as we go, I believe that Mark and Kay are looking for additional businesses to go out and interview. So if anybody's interested, you just have to get in touch with us at the Fishtown bid. Have to push my own slides. I only have one more. So like I said, I get to do a lot of really cool events. Kay does a lot of the legwork, the sponsorships, the layouts. I get to promote it. I get to do all the fun stuff, come up with the creative. So last year, we did the Valentine's Day crawl. It was a local art display in some of the businesses throughout the bid, as well as a shopping event. The Kensington Derby, which we're really excited to announce, is moving to Frankfurt Avenue. Still going to be up on the north end of the corridor, but moving to Frankfurt Avenue this year, which will help out the businesses, which we understand that there's new food vendors, businesses coming to that part of the corridor, so we wanted to give them a new opportunity. Feast of Ale, which, in past years, we've had thousands and thousands of people come out to shop, to listen to good music, to visit our restaurants and bars and stores. And last year we had a little bit of rain, but this year it's going to be perfect. No, this is for Feast of Ale. Yeah. This past year, as we did for this was the second year, the Mural City Garden with the trolley car. We partnered with Mural City Sellers to have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We had the garden open. They served drinks. We programmed different events. We had arts and crafts. We had film festivals. We had a security self-defense event at the garden, as well as, Mural City did some live music and, events of their own. So that was fun. This year, this coming year, 2024, we have a new program that we are proposing to the NKCDC in 2 weeks. So hopefully we'll get that again this year. We did the Fishtown Showdown, which was when the Fishtown Rec Center put in a new floor hockey. We decided we needed to have the Fishtown Showdown. So we partnered with the National Association Hockey League. Thank you. National Ball Hockey League. You think I'd know that. And it's right there. And we had a great event. We had some players come out. We had Jim Jackson, from the announcer from the Flyers. We had Riley Cote. We had Fridge. Help me with this one. Todd Fedoruk. And they came out and met people, and the guys who were involved had a great time. We had face painter and a caricature artist for the kids. So it was a really great community event. And last, we had the Fishtown Freeze, where we do the ice sculptures, as well as a whole weekend of Christmas shopping for our retail stores. One of the things that we did over the summer was Fishtown Taps, and we partnered with Max's Find app. And what we did is we said, how can we bring more people to the corridor at a time when our businesses maybe aren't getting as much? So during the summer, where a lot of people are on vacation, a lot of people are going to the shore, and they're not getting as much business maybe during the week, we decided to take Tuesdays from 5 to 7 throughout the summer, and participating locations did $5 beers, $6 wines, $7 cocktails. It was an overwhelming success. When asked if they wanted to extend it, all of the businesses said yes, they wanted to extend it past Labor Day. So as long as the weather was nice, we kept going. And I think our plan is to continue to do that next year. You can go to the next slide. So now I'm going to turn it over to Max Thalheimer from Find. Yeah.
Thank you, Ram. I want to again thank Francesca from Mural City Sellers, who have been such great partners with us. And their brick and mortar at Frankfurt and Berks will be opening hopefully this spring. So please go there and drink a lot there safely. But really it was a great partnership, and so much so that we won Best of Philadelphia this year. So great work, Francesca. Also for the hockey event, one of the things we wanted to make sure to do was to activate our East Girard taverns. So we created for our hockey event hospitality suites that people could go into. We had over 1,000 people there watching hockey, and they went into places like Interstate Draft House. I know Mike is here somewhere. Myers Brewery, Lloyd's Whiskey Bar. And so it was a great day to promote some business for them and give them some love on that side of the corridor. Now I'd like to give you the lovely and talented Max Thalhammer.
As usual, too kind. Thank you, thank you. Nice to see some familiar faces here tonight. For those that don't know me, my name is Max Thalhammer. I am a Fishtown resident and also the proud co-founder and CEO of the Find app, a Philadelphia-based tech startup aimed at giving a boost to many of our wonderful local businesses. We are happy to be here tonight as a shining example of the Fishtown Kensington area district's commitment to creating a more favorable business climate for all of the local businesses here in the corridor, particularly the bars, restaurants, and entertainment venues that bring so many people here to the neighborhood. As has already been mentioned, a lot of what we do is event-focused. For those that don't know what Find is, on a daily basis, anybody can open our app and use it very quickly and easily to find things that are going on in Fishtown and other neighborhoods in the city, particularly, as I mentioned, at bars, restaurants, entertainment venues. We make it easier than ever to find what's going on at local businesses. If you're looking for a happy hour on a Tuesday, you tap happy hour, you tap Tuesday. We'll show you where they are. Same thing with live music on Saturdays or comedy on Thursdays. You get the point. We've been fortunate enough to be a part of several successful events here in the Fishtown District this year, most notably Fishtown Taps, where we had 22 participating bars and restaurants here, and was picked up pretty widely by the media circuit here in Philly. We're on Fox 29, NBC 10 with that, in the Inquirer, print and digital, as well as several radio stations and other online publications. We were really excited about the reach that brought to the district, as well as our own personal branded event that we ran in December to help give some local bars a boost around the holiday season. We had our Ugly Sweater Tavern Tour here, where we had 9 participating locations, and I think that number was actually over 200 by the time we got to it, registered participants, which was an overwhelming success for the first time we've done something like that. We're very excited to be working to plan some future events here in the district, including a fundraiser that we're partnering with the Fishtown Neighbors Association to do coming up around St. Patrick's Day, so keep an eye out for that. Support a great local organization that does so much for the neighborhood. Got my last slide here, so just want to showcase a little bit about what Find has been able to do for Fishtown over the past year. So on the left side there, we have our 2022 numbers. So in 2022, we were featuring about 30 businesses in Fishtown. Now we're up to 45, and actually, I'm pleased to report that these numbers were prepared before the original date for this meeting. That 45 number is now outdated. We just added another 12 businesses to the app in the last several weeks, so now we're up to about 57 businesses that we showcase here in Fishtown. Those businesses have together posted about 3,100, I believe, is the current number of events that they've put on the platform to date, and we've been pleased to bring over over 500,000 views, bringing a good bit of attention to those events and all the great things happening here in Fishtown. There it is, that over 3,000 events number, and the businesses themselves have been viewed. Again, these numbers are a little bit outdated by about a month now, but probably closer to 60,000 times at this point. Our App Store rating is a stellar 4.5 out of 5 stars, which has not changed over the past year. So we're excited to blow these numbers out of the water in 2024 and continue, what year is it? Yeah, it's 2024. Wow, that's crazy. Time flies. And really continue to bring a lot of much needed attention and well-deserved attention to everything we have going on here in Fishtown. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. And one of the things Max came to us when we put this together. This is a service that the bid pays for all the participating businesses, so it doesn't cost them anything. We're here to promote them and help them make money. So I didn't know we got up to 57. That's great news. Keep up the great work.
So one of the things that we're most proud of is all of the businesses somehow, some way make their way into the news, whether it's broadcast or online or local publications. Each week in our newsletter, we promote these businesses and their press. So you'll find if you get our newsletter every Friday that you can see that we have more information about the top 10, brunch places in, the Philadelphia area, and there's always Fishtown businesses included. The best places for, comedy, or the best places for trivia. We're promoting it for each of the businesses as we go through. Here's just some examples. The Philadelphia Phillies players choose Philadelphia Fishtown favorites as their two go-to restaurants, and Zach Wheeler liked two. Aaron Nola likes, Hiroki. I didn't want to say it wrong, as well as Soraya. So, but you can go through and see, like I said, we do feature each of these. There's some in our newsletter, our annual report, and there's some in our newsletter each Friday. And now it's Kay. You are very welcome.
Thanks, Randy. All right. So I skipped the whole part in the beginning where I actually introduced myself, but I am Kay Anderson. I'm the Director of Operations here at the BID, and I'm also the Director of Fishtown Co. So I just wanted to take some time to explain the difference between Fishtown Co. and Fishtown District and why you might want to join Fishtown Co. So the Fishtown BID is clearly geographically bounded. We showed you our map, and we can only spend money within that area. But that being said, we know that we do have a lot of services that other businesses that are off corridor might want to take advantage of as well. So Fishtown Co. is the business association that formed the Business Improvement District. But once we formed the Business Improvement District, we also felt it was important to continue on as a business association to have a arm where people can kind of pay into the BID and still get some of the services that the BID provides. Obviously, we aren't going to be able to provide street cleaning in places that are off corridor, but we are able to provide a lot of the same marketing services that Randy just talked about, as well as discounted access to a lot of our event registration. So Fishtown Co. also runs the Kensington Derby and Arts Festival, as well as Fishtown Feast of Ale, so no BID assessment money is spent on either of those events. All of those events are self-funded through Fishtown Co. participation fees. And then finally, the only other thing I wanted to go over, I'm a very data-oriented person. I graduated with a math degree, so I love numbers. And I know some of you guys as business owners are always asking for statistics and data about why Fishtown. So I thought that I wanted to include this Placer report on retail growth in the neighborhood. So since COVID, we have seen an increase in tourism, a spike of over 204%. So that means that in the time since COVID has happened, we've seen not only the same levels of tourism that we experienced pre-pandemic, but we have actually grown since the pandemic. So I felt that that was really important to call out because I know a lot of our businesses, really went through a lot during that time, and it's important to know that we're here for you and we're here to support you in your recovery and in future growth. So if you want to see any more data about Fishtown, shoot me an email because I love to wonk out on this type of stuff, and I'm happy to wonk out with you. And then finally, we had a ton of new businesses open in 2023. I'm not going to read them all out because they are too numerous to name, but we do have a list of probably not all of them, but a lot of them up on this slide. So please check them out. Make sure that you spend your money at your local businesses because our local businesses are what makes Fishtown awesome. And Mark already mentioned we won Best of Philly this year with Francesca from Mural City Cellars for the Mural City Garden activation, and that's another thing that we are very proud of. Storefront Improvement Program. So one of the programs that the city provides that many of you guys may not be familiar with is the Storefront Improvement Program. If you are opening up a new business or moving into a new location, or even just want to do some renovation to your storefront, this program is great. It offers up to $10,000 or $15,000 if you are a corner property or double wide. But it's a reimbursement program, a grant program towards facade improvements. So if you want to do new signage, replace your upstairs windows, put lighting on the facade, anything like that, this program could be a good source of revenue or funding for that type of improvement. So if you're interested, we do help you through the entire process from start to finish. We work with the Commerce Department to administer this program. And I actually totaled them up today because, like I said, I love numbers. And we have done over 29 SIP programs since the creation of the Business Improvement District. So that's 29 business storefronts that have been improved through this program, leveraging at least $290,000. Yeah, add another zero there. $290,000 for the corridor through this program. So that's another thing that we really, really wanted to spread the word about. And if you are interested, please come find us. We're happy to help you through it. I already talked about Fishtown Co. membership and the newsletter. So if you are not already on our newsletter list, this is the first and foremost way that you can find out what it is that we're doing. We send it out every single Friday, and it is jam-packed full with awesome information relevant to your business, to your neighborhood, and to everything that we have going on. So please visit our website, fishtowndistrict.com, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and where you see sign up for our newsletter, enter your email in there. And now, board nominations.
You got it. You're doing great. So for those of our bid members who are here, bid members are those who own commercial properties within our district or the businesses that are in them. You can actually vote in the upcoming election to add new or keep current board members. Currently, we have 4 positions to fill. I'm going to introduce because some of them are here now. If they want to say something, they can. They don't have to. First off, Janine Cook of Harriet's Bookshop. Everyone knows Janine worldwide. Thank you. Anything you want to say? You don't have to. Next we have, this could be any, Bianca DiPietro. Bianca from Troyes. She is out of the country, I believe, now, but she wishes she could be here. But it certainly has been very active with the bid. We have Paul Kimport from Johnny Brenda's in the International. I got it. The lovely, you know him, you love him, you can't live without him. Roland Cassis, my brother. And lastly, our treasurer extraordinaire, Lisa Mazzola. You will find, so what we will have we'll have it in our newsletter, but also you can go to fishtowndistrict.com. Again, if you are a member, vote for up to 4 of those people. So thank you all for being involved. Thank you all for that you do, and good luck to everybody. Next, closing statements. Well, we're going to jump to the heart of it. I hope that you've all found this informative. I think we're very proud here at the bid from the board of our directors and our staff of what we've been able to accomplish. By no means are we finished or are we satisfied with where we are. There's a lot we can do, and that's why these meetings are important. What we will allow, so in the remaining minutes that we have, there's a microphone right over there. Where's Scott at? Did he wander off? Oh, where that very tall gentleman is. So what we always allow to do is to have up to 2-minute public comment. If you, we always say again, or a question. We'll try to do the best we can to answer. All we ask is always, be respectful, be kind, and again, treat this as a beginning of conversations, not as an end. So I know, did Josh from Fishtown Tavern leave already? I know he wanted to go. All right, so if there's anybody that would like to, step up to the mic. Introduce yourself and fire away.
This microphone?
That's it.
Hi, my name is Jack. I'm a neighborhood gentleman.
Oh, I think you just turned it off. There's a button on it, sorry. You got it? There you go.
Can you hear me? All right. So I spent a good part of today walking around to businesses because I was curious if this is actually a popular entity or not. You might be surprised, but out of the 30-so businesses I went into, nearly all of them used a lot of swear words, and we're not super pleased. They don't feel seen. They don't feel like there is any value to the organization here. A handful of them would like to talk to Councilmember Young at some point, and we have their contact information. But I got into this because I was upset about the situation with the Pomeroy house. And they are going to sign a deal, probably. I haven't talked to them today. But they're not happy about it. They were forced into it. They're confused as to why a not abandoned house was eligible for this, because the old lady was in a hospital and a rehab, not a nursing home. She never moved out. She was just a sick lady in the hospital. They're being forced to sell for less than market value because they're paycheck to paycheck. They're normal people. To fight this in court would cost them generational wealth. I would have loved to see them have it go to a market value sale and to have people bid on it like you would expect for a property as important as that on the same block as Soraya. And I just came here to give a voice to the community who feels upset and unseen. And I would love to find out why, once finding out the situation, that it was not an abandoned property, why it continued. And they were in contact. They knew the people there. I just found out there were programs available to fix windows. Their main complaint was that windows were broken. House was never collapsing. The end. Thank you.
And that's a great point. Thanks for bringing that up. Because there's been a lot of misconceptions about it. So I'm not going to get too far into it other than, under this act, this property has been vacant for 4 years, as it was deemed unsafe by the city of Philadelphia. It's an unsafe structure. Failed 2 inspections after that. All you have to do is look at it. The rear has collapsed. The upstairs windows are gone. The cornice is loose. From what I was understand on the inside of the property, well, I'm not going to describe it, but so our job, in enhancing the corridor. So we talk about, oh, it wasn't abandoned. Abandoned doesn't mean I forgot about this house. Abandoned means for 4 years, this property was neglected. And it wasn't just L&I doing it. This property was neglected before that. Back in 2017, there is an L&I lien on this property for $4,227.97 for the city of Philadelphia having to come out to clean the property and take everything out of the yard. There's a rusted out car in the yard. When we filed this, all that we knew was that the owners had passed away. Mr. Pomeroy died in 2009. No one opened up an estate. That means there was no legal person or group responsible for this property, and nothing was done. We found the heirs, all of them. We brought them to the table. They have every choice to fix up the property, demolish the property, which is more likely to happen, or sell it. Now, also what doesn't get out there is because of this below market value. Sold for $950,000. They had an appraisal done. You should see it. It's for $700,000. They got $250,000 above. No one forced them to do anything. So, but at the end of the day, one of the things, and this is not against anyone, but unfortunately, we all have the right to the enjoyment of your property. What you don't have the right of is to neglect it to the point when it infringes on the enjoyment of somebody else's. And there are properties that are directly abut that property where that wall's collapsed on that I get complaints from all the time, whether it be from vermin or whatever. What was that?
Your 2 minutes is up.
I have the mic. I can do whatever I want. But you know what? Let's go to the next one. Venice, you have one.
So I'm just curious if we should be fearful for our safety, because there's a lot of security here. There's constables, there's police. I've never been to a community meeting with so much security. Is there an issue? Are we safe?
I think you know you are safe, Venice.
I'm just, but why is there so much
we're in a Live
security?
Nation building and insurance requires it.
So the insurance requires all the safety?
Yeah.
Okay, just asking. Should have been said earlier.
I think you got it, though. You normally do, Venice. Go ahead, John.
All right, thank you, Mark. Thanks everyone for coming out tonight. For almost as long as I've been here, and that's about 30 years now, 1222 Frankfurt Avenue, right next to Frankfurt Hall, has been a thorn in our side. It's been abandoned, or looks abandoned and blighted, just like you described the 1500 Frankfurt property. Right now, it's a trash-strewn lot surrounded by multiple layers of chain link fence. There's an overflowing dumpster in the middle of it, full of trash. It has not been occupied or listed for sale for over a year, and over the years there have been almost 50 violations listed against it. The last time I asked, I was told it was part of your master plan for our neighborhood. That was years ago. It's still a mess, and this is right in the middle of the business district. So my question is, what possessed you to bring an Act 135 petition and battle to the doorstep of an elderly woman with health problems? And then once you knew the family situation, what possessed you to keep that battle while some of your own members sit on properties that are a bigger source of blight to the community?
I don't want to go through the facts again. What I will say is, though,
Thank you,
John. And I always appreciate John's questions. We talked about that before. We may not always agree. In fact, we often don't. But we always are able to communicate respectfully. So thank you, John. Not getting back to what I recited earlier regarding this particular property or the complaints I got to do that. You know, the issue is we agree we don't like any property unkept. And certainly in response to what we got for filing this action, we're not going to bring another one. However, we do want to make sure that any properties that are not kept are kept up, and we'll make sure to work to the owners to do that. The property's not part of a vision plan. It's not in our vision plan. You can go see it, but we do understand what you mean. It's in the heart of the district, and we don't want any property to be unkempt. That's it. Anybody else?
Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Dave Slobodinsky. I've had a business in Fishtown since 1988, probably before a lot of you guys were even born, and property owner as well. I feel left out of this process. There was a vote apparently in 2019 or thereabouts for the Fishtown BID, which I was never aware of. So right now, I haven't paid a cent in my dues, and I have a lien against my property, both properties. So I would ask you, how many properties do you have liens against in Fishtown, in your corridor? 147.
That means they have not paid in years, or in your case, you indicated
Like
you haven't
me.
paid at all. Yeah.
Yeah, like me.
And you have no intention to.
Okay, so it's how many properties then? I think that was my question.
I don't have the number of properties, I know the number of active liens. That's the number I know.
Doctor, if you can follow up, we'll get you the number.
I'm sorry?
If you follow up with us, we'll get you the number, we'll share the number.
Okay, another question I would have is your annual budget, you called it a cap, I think? What is it? I mean, you said I have to go to the website to find out, but you probably know.
So our billing amount for this year is capped at $720K. About.
So that's your budget or what you bill?
That's our billing amount.
Okay.
So we add to that.
All your grants and everything? Okay. I just wanted you to know who I am, because we've spoken on the phone, and that I'm a concerned business owner and property owner about what I'm being asked to pay for. Thank you.
And Doctor, if we can, I would love to follow up, you and I, together. Let's sit and chat and talk.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'll talk to you after the meeting.
Okay.
Board members, yes. Thank you. Everybody make sure before you leave to introduce yourself to the councilman. Thank you, Councilman. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Councilman. That was a perfect lead-in to what I was about to say. And I don't want to address this to the staff. I want to address this to the board. Sorry. Is that better? Yes. So I want to address this to the board, not the staff. So in my career, I just retired about 6 months ago. In my career, I've been on boards. I've been in your spot for Fortune 200 companies and hospitals and things like that. And the first thing you learn when you go on a board is your obligation to the standard of care. That's the fundamental and foundational job of a board member. I think in the last few months, the organization has gotten a couple of black eyes, maybe a couple of broken arms in terms of its own reputation. And so I would admonish the board to think about the standard of care and think about the reputational value of this organization and how it's been diminished over the last few months. So thanks.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Ann Hillman. I'm a resident here, also a committee person. Welcome to Division 33, where we all vote. So make sure you come out and vote in the primary. I wanted to say a couple things about, I have no skin in the business game. I think some of the things you're doing are great. I want to stress the importance of community engagement when these decisions are being made. I think your social media channels and where you're putting things out have zero engagement, and wish you would engage more with the Fishtown is Awesome page, because that is where, for better or worse, a lot of the debate is had and where things get circulated. I also want to remind you that the Fishtown bid, while we are, you know, Fishtown's great and there's articles being read, written about how awesome it is, it's always been awesome. I came here in the early aughts. I want you to realize you stand on the shoulder of giants, both the long-term residents and, in my case, the wave of artists that came over for cheap rent and musicians, and that's really what made the community great. I'm a firm supporter of the Pomeroys. I will only be satisfied if they're satisfied with what happened. I think your casual cruelty on the news when you spoke about the situation didn't quite address really what happened there. While they're, you know, maybe not as savvy about tangled titles and, you know, didn't have the money to get the repairs done, they paid their taxes, they paid the utilities the whole time. You could have found those people on the Fishtown is Awesome Facebook page. They can solve crimes on that page, the way engagement goes. And you could have contacted someone in that family directly and done the right thing. I'll also just say, and this is an old beef of mine, when you did the SIPs at the Mural City Gardens that was mentioned in July of 22, you did take artists' work and put them on canned cocktails without their permission, payment, consent, with no regard if one of those people was triggered by being maybe in recovery, and you really never addressed them. You told them to reach out to you, and they didn't. It wasn't on them. I'll give you credit for making good on that by having the next process open to artists, and you did pay compensation, but I kind of wanted to call out the artist's name because you never gave them credit before, and it is at Keith Warren Greiman, at Amberella XO. Sorry.
Take your time.
Yeah, and you can find their Instagram pages. At Lemon Sparkle Fantasy, at Ant Carver, at Ben Howard Art, and I mentioned Amberella and Keith Warren Greiman. I really was upset by that. And I'd like to talk to the bike guy too, because when we're talking about where to place bike racks, there was a situation where one was placed out at Cedar Point Bar and Grill. You specifically, or the Fishtown District social manager said that that was approved by Cedar Point Bar and Grill. The owner came on and said, that's a lie. No one ever contacted me. So when we have things that take public spaces like bike racks, and I'm a walker, I have no real skin in, you know, where they go.
I gotcha.
Let's use double wide sidewalks. Let's not take the parking space, because a lot of people, I get what's going on with the parking and less vehicles, into that. Bikes, yes, let's go. But we also have to respect the rights of the people that have been here a long time. So while the board nominations are, you know, going on for the business, I would want you to consider a community member that's impacted to be on that board. Thank you.
Thank you. thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. We will hang around afterwards, certainly, to have any conversations you'd like. But again, let's keep this going. I think you exactly nailed it on the head. And well, like I said, we don't always bat 1,000. It's listening and learning, and we want to do that. So thank you. That was important. And thank you all for. Oh, yeah, Roland. I'm sorry.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Thank you for showing up tonight. I see a lot of business owners, and I see a lot of the neighborhood people that are here. I'm one of the founders of Fishtown Co. People that don't know who I am, actually, I've been in this neighborhood since 2005. I knew the corridor, there was nothing on it, on Frankfurt and Front Street. The first property I built was Frankfurt Hall, then La Colombe, Feresa, Soraya, Kalaya, you name it. Scott, that's my property at 1224 Frankfurt Avenue you're talking about. I have no violation on my property, my brother. But I'm sorry, I was busy building everything else. So that property is clean. We put the fence on it. We'll put a thing on it. Now the reason, the lady that everybody's upset about, by the way, on the corner property, I love that lady. I knew her for years. We cleaned her lots. We shoveled her snow. We knew who she was. And like a lot of elderly people in this neighborhood, we took care of them. When we came to this neighborhood, we started Fishtown Co. We said we wanted the people in the neighborhood that live there and the people that work in the neighborhood to be together. And that is why Joe is right there. He was part of when we started Fishtown Co. He was the president of FNA, and he was on the he had a seat on the board. John Geating, I'm sorry.
No, I did not.
Oh.
You kicked me off.
I didn't kick you off the board. I did not kick you off the board. We can have that conversation later. Absolutely not. Absolutely not, Joe. Anyway, John Geating came back on. We have Ian. There's a lot of people from FNA was on that board. All right, and we can talk about the cheating of the voting. That's what happened, but I did not kick you off that boat if you want to talk about it. Now, guys, we've done a lot of stuff in this neighborhood, all right, on that corridor. You know, with growth comes pain. You know, we worked all together between FNA and the bid to do what we're doing. There's a lot of accomplishment that happened over here. Trash cans, parks, light. You know, a woman almost got raped if it wasn't for these ambassadors to help her. When the pandemic happened, we said, we've done a lot for the neighborhood. And hey, nobody's perfect. No one's perfect. It's growing pain for sure, yes. But we are here to listen. We're here to work with each other. You know, but again, I came to this neighborhood and I was welcomed in 2005 by the old folks in the neighborhood and by the new folks. And we believe that everybody on this bid board feels the same way. We all want to work with the neighborhood. We've always said that from day one. So if people are not happy, I totally understand. But again, when that lady passed away, we had no idea who owned the house. We had no clue what none of us, when the lady passed away, we had no idea because like Mark said, the estate, she didn't even put it on her name. It was in 2005 that someone had passed away. Now, we can give you the entire story, but no one was trying to take that house away. It was really in bad shape, all right? That's what it was. As soon as we find out that there's family and involved, we say we want nothing out of it. We don't want anything. It's not like this act does not help anyone. It doesn't give us anything. We just wanted to do it to help out. And actually, it helped the family. That property is worth $750,000. They got $950,000. That's a very good deal that they got. If they don't want to sell the property, man, like you said, hey, I'll tell you what, they don't have to sell the property. They give it out of agreement, and I'll help them fix the back if you want us to. But please, don't think for a second that these people did not make money off that property. It's generational wealth. You're not going to get more money from it. So that said, we have done a lot as a bid. We work hard, meetings after meetings, to have the ambassadors, to have the cleaners. That's a lot of work that we do, the graffiti and everything. So please do not take away all the hard work that we're putting in this. So thank you all for showing up tonight.
It's Mark, M-A-R-C, at fishtownbid.org. Please reach out. Have a safe night, everybody. Peace out.